The current Iran-Israel-US conflict in 2026, the world may be standing at the edge of a wider war. Tensions that have been building for decades are now unfolding in real time. Missiles, airstrikes, retaliation. What began as a shadow conflict between Iran and Israel has now drawn in the United States, raising fears of a global crisis. To understand today's conflict, we need to go back decades. The roots of this tension stretch back to 1979, when Iran's Islamic Revolution reshaped the country's relationship with the West. Since then, Iran and the United States have been locked in a deep political and ideological rivalry. Israel, on the other hand, sees Iran as its greatest threat, particularly because of Iran's nuclear ambitions and its support for armed groups across the Middle East. For years, the conflict remained indirect: cyber attacks, proxy wars, covert operations. But one issue has remained at the center of it all: Iran's nuclear program. Despite international agreements and negotiations, mistrust has continued to grow. Israel has repeatedly warned that it will not allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons, while Iran insists its program is peaceful. In 2026, the situation reached a breaking point. Reports emerged that Iran had significantly advanced its nuclear capabilities. In response, Israel, backed by the United States, launched coordinated airstrikes on key Iranian targets. These included military installations, nuclear facilities, and strategic infrastructure. The strikes were swift and devastating. Iran immediately condemned the attacks, calling them an act of war. Within hours, retaliation began. Iran's response was rapid and forceful. Missiles and drones were launched toward Israeli targets. Some were intercepted, but others caused damage. At the same time, Iran-aligned groups in the region became active, opening multiple fronts of tension. The conflict quickly expanded beyond direct strikes. Shipping routes became unsafe. Airspace was restricted. Military forces were placed on high alert. Civilians on all sides began to feel the impact. Cities prepared for further attacks. Families moved to shelters. Uncertainty spread across the region. Meanwhile, the United States increased its military presence, deploying forces and reinforcing allies. What started as a targeted strike was now evolving into something much larger. The consequences of this conflict are not limited to the Middle East. One of the most critical areas affected is global energy. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage through which a large portion of the world's oil supply flows, has become a point of concern. Any disruption here could send oil prices soaring, and when oil prices rise, everything else follows. From transportation to food to everyday goods, the global economy feels the pressure. Countries around the world are now watching closely. Some are calling for restraint and diplomacy. Others are preparing for the possibility of escalation. Financial markets are reacting, travel routes are changing, and uncertainty is spreading far beyond the battlefield. So what happens next? There are several possible paths forward. The conflict could escalate further, drawing in more countries and expanding into a wider regional war. Or, under international pressure, both sides could move toward a ceasefire, though trust remains fragile. Another possibility is a prolonged conflict, where neither side fully backs down. Each scenario carries risks, not just for those directly involved, but for the entire world. History has shown us how quickly regional conflicts can grow into global crises. Today, the world is watching closely, hoping for restraint, but preparing for uncertainty. Because in moments like this, the decisions made now will shape the future for years to come. Follow and subscribe my channel, Nahi Tech.